Hello everyone, this is the LEGO Ninjago Movie, Destiny's Bounty. I believe it is one of the greatest LEGO ship sets ever released, if not one of the best minifig scale sets of any kind ever released. How's that for a loaded intro to a review? Let me explain to you and show you why I have such strong feelings for this thing. The hull is primarily brick and plate built, which means it will not actually float in the water. However, it's very sturdy the way it's built and leaves a lot of interior space that we'll see as I start to kind of peel off the layers. This does use a handful, 3 to be exact, of the larger boat-specific pieces up towards the bow, but I think that those are reasonable and don't contribute significantly to the shaping of the entire thing. Up at the deck level, the bow has twin dragon heads that are very nicely built, very ornate, make interesting use of parts, and there's a little bit of space in between, so you can imagine this coming right up to a dock and having the ability to just bring a little gangway straight up to that and walk on and off pretty easily, because the sides are not so easy to hop on and off due to these pretty ornate and interestingly built bulwarks that go all the way around that are actually angled as you view the ship from the front or the back. They're angled inward and they've got a lot of spacing out from the hull, and this just follows all the way on back where it forms a nice flourish at the back that also goes well with this structure I don't know the name of, but this is actually on a hinge here, so if you wanted to, you could change the angle of that depending upon the speed of the boat, but in universe I think it's supposed to just stay like that, where it's just an ornamental element. The main deck itself, meanwhile, has all sorts of little details and even has some secrets built into it, like up here at the front. These two panels can be opened up to reveal some weapon storage, so there are a couple of golden sais that are stored down there, and on the opposite side you'll find a couple of golden katanas. The windlass for the anchors really works, and we'll drop anchors on either side that's symmetrical from one side to the other. There are plants growing around different places on the deck on a couple of levels, so some of them are here. You see more on the other side. I'm assuming those are supposed to be herbs and spices, not necessarily vegetables, but we'll see in the movie. There are also a lot of different types of lanterns that are placed in different spots. These ones have the red main globes to them. Got some flags that are hanging down. There's a different type of light at the front of the forward mast. And over on the starboard side, there are a couple of deck cleaning tools and also a container with a couple of different colors of fish. In the middle, meanwhile, one more container with fish, just the silver ones this time. Got a nice teapot and a cup, or a mug in this case. This container can be opened up, and inside of it, a couple of the classic styled trading cards against brown tiles this time. So there's an old Wu and also a fired up Kai. The middle barrel also can be opened, that top can be removed, and that has inside of it just a single can of soda, which does not have a print on the can itself, but it's got that printed top. The quarterdeck and upper cabin structure features the new tan color for the garage door elements, which is absolutely awesome. Those are going to be just loved by the custom building community. They're just going to enable so many cool new things to be done with them. And these are attached up at the top, but not at the base, so you can easily open up these sides to let light in there, and also to get your huge figure hands in there to place minifigs. Now, there's not a whole lot of space in this upper deck area, this covered area, but you can fit minifigures all around there. This has a sextant, a navigation device that's there on the table, and they also have a new printed map piece that represents the land of the Ninjago movie world, and it shows you a little bit of timeline actually on the hunt for the ultimate weapon. So it looks like Master Falls is going to be in the middle of the journey. The helm has a printed tile piece to represent a compass that looks pretty nice. You can spin the wheel, but it's not connected to anything. They've got a handheld telescope, small assembly, a couple pieces over here on the side, and all around the edges, lots more ornate bulwarks and just details for the sake of details. Some more herbs and spices, I'm assuming, growing along the edges in kind of little flower boxes. And also more lanterns, one on either side up here. And you need to look at the stern of the ship a little bit better as well. This large flag says dojo. See, this is a pretty nice view of the boat as well. They actually have an aft observation deck with a larger telescope assembly here. You can place a minifigure or two in this small area back here. We've got a couple of pipes that are coming up here that just kind of terminate, but then they continue up above. These would be smokestacks for the engine or engines down deep in the hull. The nameplates back here are just stickers, but I think the graphic design work done for them is pretty perfect. I mean, those look like they could come straight off a boat in Hong Kong Harbor. Out of everything on this entire large build, what I like the least is how they've set up the sails on this. Now the sails themselves, the individual pieces, I think are nice. They're nicely shaped and they're nicely printed. Plus, they're actually made of a cloth-like material, not vinyl. That's good. I hated it when they did the vinyl ones on the earlier Destiny's Bounty. But, you know, they look good, but there's no rigging here whatsoever. That's a bit of a letdown given how much detail, just random small, fine detail that they've put all throughout the boat down below. Also, these sails are just tragically undersized, which is partly realistic. These junk boats were notoriously underpowered, undersailed, which is why they very early on started converting them over to at least partial motor power, which is why most likely this one has the big exhaust ports on it. You look at this from the other side and you start to see a little bit of structure, at least, for how the sails are held up, and those actually look pretty decent from this side. Adds a little bit of extra detail, though you're not able to see the print on the sails themselves as well because it's only printed from one side. But just having no shrouds, just no lines going to these whatsoever is a letdown relative to the amazing amount of detail that they have down below. Also, you cannot even turn the masts or the sails on them. This is all fairly rigid in its construction. I mean, it's a little bit wobbly, but you can't repose any of this. From some of the weakest stuff, though, I get to move you on to some of the strongest stuff that you have not even seen yet. So, first of all, let me remove this upper deck, just the uppermost part, to let you start to see the first interior area. You know how I showed you the big flag on the back that said dojo? Well, this is the dojo proper itself, and the sign out front says the same thing again, as does the scroll on the wall inside, although it also says Woo underneath. It's Woo's Dojo. They've got a training dummy off to one side and also a dual scabbard for a couple of katanas, and there's a lantern on that side. And over here, another lantern, a crossbow, and some pretty dangerous looking varied pole arms to choose from. I also appreciate the colors and pattern used for the floor that represents semi-modern covered tatami mats. And then there is still more than meets the eye, because all of this lifts off to reveal more interior detail. This is Woo's personal stateroom, and it has a number of artifacts around it that I found surprising in a very good way. They are letting you know that many of the things that we've seen in the show actually have occurred in some way in the universe of the movie. You've got the Stone Warrior, large black sword there, the Jin blade, hilt, a couple of golden sais, even an Anacondri helmet on one side. On this side is an old Garmadon helmet, a sepia-toned old class portrait, a couple more lanterns, and in the far corner, that's the letter to Misako. So just giving a lot of credibility to the show, you know, letting you know that they've not completely thrown everything away, even though in the movie universe things may have happened differently. What I actually like most about this stateroom is the bed itself. I mean, it looks pretty straightforward right now, just got some curved pieces on there, but this actually opens up and it's able to hold a figure inside of there. So the idea is you place Wu in the bed and he can rest. I've never seen Lego do anything like that. It's great. It's perfect. Look at that. It holds him just perfectly. Now that's not even the only area of the main deck that can be raised up and removed. You can actually take this part up as well. It's a little bit tricky to make sure it slides past there. Just kind of hold on to these containers when they're attached fully. Slide that up and pull it on out. On one side of this area is the head, right? The restroom with the toilet. They got the toilet paper there. They got the flushing button and also a sink, which looks like it has a potentially working drain. On the other side, still more artifacts from show history with the vermilion armor piece, a couple of shuriken, and even an arrow blade that has been captured here. They also have access to get down there with a little ladder towards the front. The efficiency of this build is great because it has the flat plate base, which gives you plenty of space to actually fit some figures inside of there, even though this is so far down in the hull. And then the sides are built up with a combination of traditional and studs on the side construction that really embed things into the hull, the actual kind of planking area, just as deep as they can, and use up the minimum amount of space that allows everything to be this open, even though this is all the way down in there. This set does come with a full complement of the entire ninja team, plus Master Wu himself. So there's Lloyd, Wu, Kai, and Nia. Each one comes with their new kind of signature weapon for the Ninjago Movie world, and they're fully suited up with their masks on and all. And I need to take some of that off to let you see the detail beneath. Wu is the only figure in this set who does not get an alternate face, and also there is no additional print on his legs beyond just what you see for the sandals, just kind of printed on the toes there. The rest of them get their alternate faces, so I've got just the serious ones facing forward right now, and the more happy or smiling to semi-smiling faces on the backs. Here are Cole, Zane, and Jay with their signature weapons, and Cole gets the little bit of arm printing, kind of bracer style printing, similar to Lloyd, and also Nia had a little bit of arm printing. The rest of them do not. That's what they look like from the backs, and with their happier faces. Now, Zane in particular is especially happy because he has an alternate face at all. He's the one ninja out of this entire series to sometimes not get an alternate face for the version where he is showing his hair, because his hair is pretty closely shaven with that kind of digital buzz cut that he gets. So when he gets the hair form, he does not get a second face at all. The set also comes with the ultimate weapon, not the ultimate weapon, but the ultimate weapon, the laser pointer, which can be used by a figure if it's on a studded base, because it is pretty large and heavy for a figure to hold. Well, I did it, I think. I believe I gave this set a fair review in spite of the fact that after building it, I felt it was one of the best minifig scaled sets ever released by the company. Certainly not everyone will appreciate the source material this is based off, but for what it is and for its size, I think the build, the design, the efficiency, the playability is just off the charts. I feel like the interior space of this especially is fantastic, and I think that everything about this does great justice to the entire history of large Lego boats, including the very most beloved, very large pirate-themed ships of the past, and in many ways it surpasses those. The one place where it really does fall short, and very short indeed, is with the complete lack of rigging for the sails. If that could have been addressed and corrected, I think this pretty much would have been a perfect set. However, that said, if they did have a bunch of rigging all over this thing, it could have actually dramatically reduced the play value and taken away a lot of what I like about this set. With rigging, you can put figures on there. You can have them climbing up, which is really cool and really fun and looks good with the posing and all, but it gets in the way of access to the deck, and so much of what I like here is access to the deck and below. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to preserve both. The ability to pose figures going up the rigging and having that look nice on display, and being able to actually get to the deck reasonably with our human huge figure hands, grabbing onto minifigures, and being able to remove these whole sections. When you have rigging, you have to have places where those are connected. And if something is going to be removed, or if something needs to go past parts that are not going to be removed, that all becomes a major issue. So it's quite possible that what they've done here, what they've left off that I want, actually made this a better set. Of course, you also have to look at the price of this thing, and that is really good for what you get. The price to part ratio is amongst the best that we've seen ever throughout history for minifig scaled Lego sets, adjusted for inflation, of course. So I don't know what else to say, and therefore I will say no more. Thank you very much for watching this review. I hope that you enjoyed this. I certainly did, and I will continue to enjoy this ship as I will keep it on display. Of course, my next video is already in the works, so stay tuned, and I'll be talking to you again soon.